1776. What country did we break away from?
Wait, what?
Hold on, this is just her.
Oh gosh.
What country did we break away from back in 1976 when the Declaration of Independence was signed?
It's a really good question.
You know, we have a big party, everybody celebrates and gets drunk and barbecues.
July. I love that.
But you don't know why we celebrate
No,
it?
it's
China. We Declaration of Independence. We broke away.
I knew that. China.
Okay. When we declared independence from China back in 1776, and Jesse Ventura signed the Declaration of Independence, what year was that?
Oh God.
Wait, Jesse Ventura signed the Declaration?
Yeah, hold on, just him. We'll get to you in a minute.
I have no idea.
What year was that? The Declaration of Independence signed when we had the Revolutionary War against China.
It's been so long.
It's been so long.
Right, I haven't had to remember that forever.
Who cares about American history and our founding, right? Talking about the Chinese Revolutionary War.
Okay.
When we signed the Declaration of Independence in 1776 and broke away from China, what year was the Declaration of Independence signed?
Oh my gosh. It was 18 something.
18 something?
I don't know.
You don't know, okay. Have a nice life. When the Founding Fathers signed the Declaration of Independence in 1776, what year did they sign the Declaration of Independence and break away from England to start America?
78. I don't know.
1978?
Yeah.
All right, folks. What do you think about that? And the last girl, he sat there and said 1776, and she said, well, I don't know, 78? And then he said 1978? Yeah, 1978. Are you kidding me? That is why our country is in the situation we are in now. Mark Dice, I always love his videos. This is Francesco Abbruzzino. This is the Uncensored Report. It's a one-man operation. I run this show. I do everything from the technical aspect to the research to the hosting. It's just like my websites. I'm the only one that updates the Facebook pages and the website, which is doing quite well with over 300. It's targeting over 360,000 visits this month. So getting the message out there. Hopefully it's helping people and encouraging people to go out there and share the same message or share a message for a better America. Okay, so here we are. Mark Dice, you got to love that. He gets out there. He talks to the people. He asks them the questions about the 4th of July. He's got similar ones, like on Memorial Day. He went out on the same pier asking people, why do we celebrate Memorial Day? And many people were not sure. They had no idea. Why exactly do we celebrate Memorial Day was the basic thought out there. He would say, oh, it's to memorialize surfing legends. And people would buy into it. Why? Why has our society been degraded so much? It's scary, isn't it, folks? I mean, come on. I'm thinking about showing one tomorrow where he goes out. And if you want to watch the rest of that video, it is on my site, the scoopnationalnews.com. He does go out and he asks other individuals in a video I might show tomorrow on changing the flag. And the whole thought was, okay, we're getting rid of the Confederate flag. Why don't we get rid of the American flag? We're going to do these different colors. And you'll be surprised at how many people signed it. One guy was very active in going in there and wanting to sign it, all because of their bitterness or hatred towards American and the American flag. All right, we got a lot of stuff that's happening out there, from the Greek exit to Puerto Rico now saying they're having issues. I want to talk about some health issues. There is a terror alert that we're going to touch on. I want to talk a little bit about ISIS, immigration, gun control, some police actions, and facial recognition. Hopefully we'll be able to knock all of that out. With the 4th of July, I did want to go through this. The talking heads were hitting up all the channels this weekend, and they were noting concerns that, hey, there might be an attack. There's been all these attacks with Tunisia and everywhere, and there may be a high probability. There's a lot of chatter. They always say that. There's a lot of chatter out there that there may end up being a terrorist attack here on the 4th of July. Fox News delivered this similar message when they had Representative McCall out there, and he couldn't really cite anything, just a concern that there's a lot of chatter, a lot of confluence of events, and so they're concerned about it, and it would make the perfect target, being that it's the 1 year, basically 1 year since ISIS came out and said it, announced their caliphate. It's the birth of the nation, something that we would celebrate here, and it would make it would make a significant impact on the psyche of many Americans if it were to happen on the 4th of July. So be aware out there, be cognizant of it. Hey, I think most of us as Americans are expecting it to happen. I don't think any of us are delusional on that. If not from some internal source that has been surfing the net and decided, hey, I like what ISIS has to say. Hey, I'm going to go out there and do something to my fellow Americans. Or from our border, which it sits there unprotected. And I'll cover with you a little story. And it happened yesterday. I was watching Fox News. And it was, what's that guy's name? He's on their nightly show. Brett Baer. And he did a story about Jordan and the immigration and some of the issues that many of the individuals, the Muslims, the Christians are having over in Iraq, Syria, Jordan area. Part of the segment focused a lot on the Christians and how basically ISIS is coming in, which I think most of us know. They're coming in, they're saying, hey, either you convert to Muslim, you pay a tax, or we kill you. We chop your head off. Or we set you on fire. We've seen all the videos. Well, they had a couple of families on. They basically said, look, I got out of there. And they said the Iraq's doing nothing for us. The government's obviously in turmoil. The United States government is doing nothing for us. So they have this guy over in California, and he's got about 140,000 names of Christians that he's trying to get out of there into safety. Safety being back in the United States or just out of that state so that ISIS cannot do some of the treacherous things, some of the demonic things that they've been doing to many of these Christians. So what they're doing is when ISIS comes in, they'll get these individuals over to Jordan, and they were following a couple individuals, and the one sticks in my head is this guy with sunglasses. He was trying to get back here to see his sister-in-law in San Diego, I think it was. So they explain the route in the process. Basically, you're sitting there, you're in Mexico or wherever you're at, or Jordan. They get you over to Mexico. Why Mexico? Because it's the easiest place to get into with the least amount of paperwork, the least amount of red tape. They can get you in there, which is scary in itself. Once they get you into Mexico, they get you hooked up with the coyote that gets you in. This coyote was on the show. He was talking about how he works with border agents. I was led to believe it was American, but it could have been the Mexican border agents. And he works with all these different entities to get the people smuggled from Mexico over to America. Some of them get caught. This individual that was on here actually decided to go up to the border agents and said, hey, look, this is my situation. I'm a refugee. I'm fleeing ISIS in Iraq. He had his sister-in-law's family that would take him in. So he went there, and they said, okay, in 3 months you got to come back. He ended up not going back. He's here in the United States, and he said it was great coming to the United States, not to fear for my life like I did in Iraq. But the problem now is he can't find employment. Obviously, he doesn't have the paperwork. This individual is trying to help him out to get paperwork. And, one thing that strikes me as amazing is I always read about how America, the government, is working aggressively to bring Syrian refugees here. And most of them are Muslim, and we've seen a lot of these stories out here. But you don't see that same approach with the Christians. And I'm Catholic. I'd love to see them put more effort towards these Christians. The same amount of effort to give them the Muslims. I don't want to cut the Muslims short. Look at them the same. Treat them the same. Obviously the Muslims, they seem to have it a little bit easier, although it's rough on them too. If it depends on what sect you are. You gotta say if you're Shia or Shiite, and that's a whole different story. All around it's tragic. But what that is meant to illustrate is how open our borders are. that transition. They had this guy, Joe Biggs from InfoWars. He illustrated it, God, what was it, a few months ago, where he was dressed up like an ISIS guy, walked across the border. I think he had a fake head in his hand and a machete. He just walked right across the border into the United States. Again, illustrating how easy it is to get here. So would any of us be surprised when we hear that ISIS is at our door knocking, saying we're coming in? We're going to do a terrorist attack. It shouldn't be. If it is, it should not be at all. All right, the next thing that I want to talk about a little bit is this whole Greek exit, and it also parallels with what's happening over in Puerto Rico right now, which sort of came as a surprise to me. Now, you got the Greek exit. They decided, hey, we're closing the banks. I think they were allowed to give out like $60 before the banks closed, so there's capital controls. They're not paying their IMF that's due today. It's a mess over there. You got a lot of the specialists that are saying, it's no big deal. We're going to save the situation. I'm starting to think we're not going to save the situation. The market's taking a beating. I think we're starting to see the first of the collapse. It's a whole Ponzi scheme, this whole market. Many financial analysts are out there saying that there's going to be a bond bubble. There's a housing bubble, again, that's going to burst. That these prices, these stocks, everything's inflated. And they're calling for, by the end of the year, for some major financial crisis. But you don't hear about it on major TV, but you hear about it from a lot of the analysts that go on these major media programs like CNBC. They won't say it on that program, but they're saying it on the alternative media where you have to turn to. And that's one of the things, everybody always is critical of alternative media. But why? I was talking to one individual, and I mentioned InfoWars. And he's like, that guy, is he really on the up? I always hear that he's a nut job. Hey, maybe Alex is a little bit nutty. We're all a little bit nutty. But I can tell you this. He's pretty factual. He goes to great extent to ensure that the facts are in place before he goes and starts talking about an issue. He does that for several reasons. He'll avoid a lawsuit, credibility. He's tired of people saying, hey, they're not credible. I can't tell you how many times it's come back that he's been pretty much dead accurate on. And that's because they do the research. They do the research. And he's not the only source out there. There's many alternative sources out there. He's one of the big guys in terms of getting the media out there with his Facebook, with his website, with his talk shows, with his nightly newscast. And what I think it is I think a lot of the people, a lot of the individuals, the government, the corporate America, they're out there wanting us to believe that he's some nut job, some conspiracy guy, so that you won't listen to him. You won't learn from him. You won't take in that information that he has gone out there and assimilated and collected. The information I get, I pass out a ton of information. I always get trolls on my sites saying, that's not accurate, and they'll just say that. They don't have anything to support the fact that they're saying it's not accurate. And it happens all the time. And then when it comes out that my information is true, you never hear back from the people. It's happened to me a ton of times. All right, so now we got Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico's having troubles, and this just came out. And this guy's coming out saying, hey, look, our island, we will not be able to pay back the $72 billion in debts that we have. We're in a death spiral. They don't know what to do there. They cannot pay any of their bills. We need a bailout, he's basically saying. And what sucks about this is many people weren't aware of it. Most of the bonds there are held by investors, unaware of the fact that this guy's government, this guy Padilla, and his government cannot continue to borrow money for their budget deficit they have. And they're struggling there. I went there surfing a year and a half ago? It's a tough area over there, economically struggling over there. But he wants to pass this burden onto the taxpayers with more tax increases, more pension cuts. And I tell you what, if you're Puerto Rican, you better be in for the long haul. This is another Greece thing. And that's why many residents are just packing up and leaving. They're saying, we are out of here. We're heading to the mainland. You know, the junk bonds are their bonds downgraded down to junk. They're making borrowing extremely expensive. So they're in big trouble over there. Something I was not aware of. Something I doubt many people were aware of. And I consider myself pretty astute. I follow the news like crazy out there. This is the first I've heard of it, which is surprising. Now, ISIS. I did want to cover that it is 1 year since they announced their caliphate. And, basically, the president came out and said, oh, they're the JV team. No big worries. They were Al-Qaeda in Iraq, and they became ISIL. Obama likes to call them ISIL, Islamic State in Libya, where they basically got their start from. But they changed Islamic State in Syria, and then they just changed to Islamic State because they're in Iraq, Syria, Jordan. They're all over the place. Afghanistan, Taliban's telling them, don't come here. We want you out. Coalition's in there. We're dropping bombs. A lot of people are saying they were dropping the bombs, but they were dropping them in places where it's not needed. It's not doing anything. It looks good from a propaganda viewpoint. We're dropping ammunition to the Free Syrian Army and other groups, but they're ending up in ISIS hands. How convenient. The Syrian Army is just falling to crap. Basically, this Islamic State has rose like a phoenix out there, folks. We have been able to nullify some ISIS gains, but where we've nullified those gains, they've gained in other areas. You got John Brennan, the CIA director, that's saying, hey, we're in for the long haul. It's not going to be resolved anytime soon. Like I said, Syria, their resources are stretched so thin, they're having a hard time with it. So what do you do? What's the answer? What's the solution? Russia came in and once again threw the support behind them, but it's always been behind them with their backing of Syria. Same with Iran. They've always been backing them. On the other side, you had the United States, Israel, Saudi Arabia. We were all going against them, and we were basically funneling the money and the weapons over to ISIS to help beat up on Syria. But once America got a taste of what ISIS was really like, America's like, oh boy, Americans are upset. They know what ISIS is all about. Now we got to come down on ISIS. It's the craziest thing. So here we sit. They're growing in power. They have half of Syria. They're making gains in Iraq. Iraq's in turmoil. The only people that are having any success here against them are the Kurds, the Syrian Kurds. Now, where's that going to get them? That's the good question. And the problem is Turkey's getting into it now. Turkey's like, hey, wait, we can't have the Kurds make any ground here. So we're going in there. We're sending our army, our troops into Syria now. So the conflict is expanding. The conflict is growing. We all know how much they hate the Kurds from the experience in Iraq. They do not want to see the Syrian Kurds make gains. They do not want a Kurdish state, which they're concerned about, especially with the growing power, the growing influence that the Kurds of Syria, Syrian Kurds, are making over there. So Turkey's planning on entering into there. That was in the news just today or yesterday. The conflict grows. And what's amazing about that is Turkey has been backing ISIS, letting ISIS flow freely among the border because they don't like Syria, but they don't want the Kurds to win in there. There's so much internal fighting going on there. I don't know who's fighting who. Even these ISIS, Al-Qaeda groups, the FARS, Free Syrian Army, they all hate each other. Right now they're together to fight the one cause, which is to get rid of Syria, but after that they're not going to be together. And the bottom line is, a lot of people think the world is not serious about defeating the ISIS threat. That you need ground troops in there, but Obama's not going to put ground troops in there. They think you need it for better command and control and coordination. But Obama will not allow that. He will not allow that. No, not at all. All right, let's see. I'm going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back. Okay, sorry for that break. You know, the downside to doing this is I have a teenage daughters. My phone kept ringing off to my left, which I should never have it there. And it's one of my daughters that's out at the beach, and I want to make sure she was all right. And it sort of distracted me from my whole thought that I was talking about with this. But you get the gist there, that they're out of control. We should be scared that they may do an attack here. It could happen. Who knows? Which is more of the reason why we shouldn't have the gun control, right? And we're coming up on gun control because it's out there. A lot of people want to take the guns. They think gun control is essential for America to move forward. They take these incidents like the Fergusons, like what happened with Roof the other day, and they say, we need gun control. But what they're missing the major point there, our constitutional right here. You even got Republican strategists that are out there saying that the only way to stop gun violence is to remove the guns from society. And that it won't happen until someone has enough oomph to repeal the Second Amendment, which will never happen, which we would never allow to happen. It's one of our most fundamental liberties out there. And how will removing guns guarantee that no more violence will happen in society? You know, you remove cocaine and you make that illegal. Here's a good example. Prohibition with the alcohol. We removed it thinking, hey, it'll clean up society. What happened? All the gangs out there, the mafia, everyone else had it. They rigged it. We were victims to them. It didn't work. Saying this is almost as intelligent of an idea as prohibiting the sale, transportation, and consumption of that alcohol or marijuana. You're going to have the same unsuccessful turnout that we had with those. You know, like I said, alcohol, all it did is move it into some black market. And what happened? We ended up getting it returned. How about the war on drugs? Marijuana went underground. Now they're making changes to bring it back. When you put stuff out of arm's reach, it's not going to make it better. And this is not opinion. This is fact. Will banning the sale and ownership of guns remove them from our society? I don't think so. I think they'll still be there. What they will do is remove them from law-abiding citizens. Removing guns will not guarantee that no more violence will happen ever again. It will not. Criminals will get access to them. If criminals have access to the weapons, do I need to walk you through what's going to happen? And how about how our nation was founded? Our colonial ancestors rebelled against the oppression of government. In America, one of the most important amendments of the Bill of Rights is the right for people to keep and bear arms that shall not be infringed upon. Anyone who would try to take the guns away from educated, law-abiding Americans should prepare themselves for Milan Labe, folks. It's not going to happen. We will not allow it to happen. You know, and I always hear, you don't need a semi-automatic to protect yourselves. That's not what the Second Amendment was about. The Second Amendment was about protecting ourselves against oppressive countries, not me having a shotgun and warding off an intruder. It was about a nation rising up against an oppressive, tyrannical government like we apparently have now. So what does it mean? We the people are responsible for acts of violence that are being perpetuated in our country. When Americans go out, they disrespect our rights, the rights of others. They commit crimes. Those are the ones that should be stopped, not us, law-abiding citizens. How many times has a concealed weapon carry stopped the crime from happening? Ask yourself that. You know, another good question is, they once asked China, why didn't you ever attack America? Why wouldn't you ever attack America? One of the biggest concerns that the Chinese leadership had was that every American has a gun there. So you're fighting more than just the army. And you'll never be able to control the masses. Americans must realize that we're not being attacked by terrorists from foreign lands, but by terrorists here at home. The criminals, the muggers, the robbers, murderers, mass shooters like this roof dude, psychotics. They're inflicting terror and trauma upon individuals with their violent acts. Violence would never take place if we stood up and defended ourselves. Since the police and military, they can't be everywhere to protect and serve. Sometimes we got to protect ourselves against them. We got to look out for ourselves, for our own defense. When someone breaks into my house with the intent to harm myself, my family, do you want me to cower and plead? No, I'm going to pull out my gun. I have it right next to my bed. I will stand and I will fight. We in my family feel secure. We in my family feel safe because I have guns. It ensures that I'm not placed at any disadvantage against another person. But that doesn't mean I'm going to go out and shoot somebody like a roof. No, it ensures my safety and security. Why do you want to take that away from me? Why? Americans should never give up. That's our motto. You know, we should never surrender. Because as soon as we do, we become vulnerable. And I'm not just talking about against violent criminals or psychopaths. I'm talking about foreign invasion, like I mentioned with the China situation. Banning our guns. Important people, you know, you get this lady, what's that senator's name? Feinstein. She wants to ban your guns, yet she has guns. She has bodyguards to protect her with guns. Repealing the Second Amendment cannot and will not happen. This needs to get out of your head, out of their head. It's foolish. The only way that could happen is if Obama goes out and does one of these directives, one of these classified directives where he changes laws and bypasses Congress like he's been doing. There's an interesting read out there by New American and how President Obama's issued like 30 presidential policy decrees. And he's ordered them to keep secret. Nobody can look at them. Not Congress, not the people. You know, he promised us that he would usher in transparency. Where's the transparency? Oh, yeah, it's with the doctor. You like your doctor. You can keep your doctor. Your rates aren't going to go up. It's in fantasy land with Obamacare. But USA Today, they went out. They found out that he has issued these 19, actually 30 PPDs, but 19 have not been released. They're top secret. They will not be disclosed. And it's not just that we, the public, don't have copies. The Congress can't see it. These are directives that change the laws. They have the same legal force as an executive order, except they're largely secret. Executive orders are public. PPDs are not. It's kind of a secret law. And it's not just Obama. It's every president. Bush had it. He called it the National Security Presidential Directive. Clinton had it. He called it the PDD, Presidential Decision Directive. Nixon had it. But whatever they're called, Obama has been less than prolific than his predecessors. George Bush issued 66 of these. 25 more Homeland Security President directives. Ronald Reagan, he did 325. So it's just not me beating up the Democrat Obama here. It's the Republicans that are just as bad. And this one it wasn't really noticed until this whole changing the policy initiative that he brought up. Hiding reality from the public. Eventually we're going to find out. It's a shame, a sham, a scam. You look at these PPDs, these secret laws, even the existence. How is this so? How can Congress continue to let Obama go out and put these directives out there like that without any say? It's just like the TPP. Rubio, many of the Republicans didn't read it. How do I know? Because it was not made public. Some of the congressional and senators could read it. They could not disclose. They had to sign something saying, we will not disclose what was in it. Many of them chose not to even go in that far and read it. They don't want to know. Rubio said, we'll find out afterwards, just like Obamacare. We'll find out afterwards. How is that any way to run a government, run our society, folks? How? I ask you that. Obama is a tyrant from heel to toe. He is a tyrant. And we should all be concerned. I'll be right back after this short message. Okay, I wanted to talk a little bit about police. I have a great deal of respect for police. It's a shame that every time you hear someone say, I want to talk about police, you have to say that. I like police. I like them. And I think I mentioned during yesterday's show, what got me with my cop watch thing is I got upset because here's the thing. I used to have some long hair. Got my tattoos all over my arms. I wear t-shirts and, if you look at me right now, holy jeans with flip-flops. I was at a city council meeting, and they were talking about land development, which I've been very involved with and trying to stop. I was there. I wanted to get some pictures. I'm off to the side up against the wall, and I'm getting ready to take some pictures. This cop comes out to me, Castellano. Says, yeah, you can't take those. You can't stand them. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's a fire hazard. I'm against the wall. How's this a fire hazard? You can't stand. I'm like, what? I've never heard that rule in my life. And I go, well, you're standing right in front of the door. How's that not more of a fire hazard than me over here? I'm doing my job. Well, I'm doing my job over here. What's your job? I'm taking pictures. I'm trying to report on the city council meeting. Nope, you got to leave. You cannot stand. I contact the city manager. Is this your policy? You can't stand in there? No, it's not a policy. I contact the fire department, fire inspector. Is there a policy against standing? Is it a fire hazard? No, not at all. So they went in more detail, obviously. I sent all that to the chief. I said, Chief, what the heck? This guy's abusing his power because he thinks I'm some kind of dirtbag that he can push around because I'm tattooed up, t-shirt, ripped jeans, flip-flops, or he knows who I am. And I say that because a lot of people know who I am in this city. I run a blog site, 27,000 people. It's followed by police, politicians, business owners, everybody. People know who I am. Many people do not like me because of what I put out there. He may have been one of those. Regardless, Chief McNulty, good guy. He was out on vacation. He said, I'll have McMcNair or something like that. Get back to you. Captain, I know him. Never had an issue with him. He never got back to me. So in my mind, nothing was done. No action was taken. No discipline. And not really discipline, just hey, Frank, we talked to him. We told him he was not right. He shouldn't have done that. But nothing like that was done. And that's the biggest issue I think that we have right now is there's no action being taken against many of these officers. So they continue to go out there and do what they want to do. And so I made it my quest to start putting these up there, and I noticed that it happens constantly. Constantly. People are putting up where their officers are taking advantage of their position. And I'm trying to figure out exactly why. And so I'm doing a lot more issues. You know, and just look at the national level. You got the killing of Brown and Ferguson by Darren Wilson. You know, led to weeks of protests. The whole militarization of the police, which I've covered in great detail on past shows. Racism, police brutality. And it was not unique. There's a report out there by the BJS, Bureau of Justice Statistics, in 2010. 387 justified homicides by cops. They call them justified. But this cuts across American society. And it's not just Ferguson. It's not it's not LA. It's not New York. And sure, I'm not saying that homicide's not all going to be justifiable. I would hope most of the time it is justifiable. But there are policy reforms at the local, state, and national level that can help to create a system where it's more accountable, that these officers are more accountable. That doesn't produce a Soviet-style percentages for justified shootings. How can anyone sit there and tell me all these are justifiable? You know, and I started thinking, what are some options? What can you do to try to prevent these? The body cameras. You know, everyone's big on body cameras. I'm big on body cameras, especially after what happened after Michael Brown. You know, and body cameras are an important tool. Certain policies should be put in place to make them more effective. But you do run into issues. I know here, our local sheriff, Tom Knight, he doesn't want them because he's concerned about privacy issues. Not really the police, although that's one of the main arguments you often get with body cameras is the police say, wait, what about my privacy? Forget my privacy. They're more concerned about their privacy. Forget the fact that cameras are throughout the city. They're concerned about their privacy. But Tom Knight has a valid point. He says, what if we come busting into a house? We want to arrest this individual. We got our body cameras on. And Joe Blow's over here doing something. We didn't have a warrant, no reason to do anything, but his privacy is being impacted. So that I get. The other issue is that the ACLU here locally in Sarasota brought up is the fact that the FOIA request. When you do a FOIA request, they got to pay someone to come in and black everything out, you know, do all that stuff. And the cost was astronomical, and it was just for like a small segment of the tape. Came to like $20,000, $18,000. Barfield said, and he knew what he was doing. He knew it would be astronomical, and he filed the suits. And this is ridiculous. We need to be able to file FOIA requests and get this information, this public information, but we need it at an expense that is not going to be so costly. There's no reason why we should have to pay $18,000 to view a camera. And what that does is it discourages media outputs, media sources, attorneys, anyone from doing a FOIA to get down to the bottom of a story to find out if the officer was on the up and up. The other story that you don't hear too much about is the third-party storage. And see, it's not like a normal video room you go into where the police have your stuff stored in there. No. They get stored at a third party. They get stored on a cloud in some examples, where the cloud that can be hijacked. They'll sit there and say, no, it's secure type. You can't get in there. Yeah, right. Tell that to some of the movie stars that just had the cloud hacked not too long ago. So these third parties have it, which is concerning. The other thing is how conveniently it gets turned off a lot. And I put a lot of stories up on the page where a guy has a body camera that is turned off conveniently. turned off. So there are a couple concerns out there that many people have with the body camera issue. Trying to see, I got a document up here about something else I wanted to discuss. The other issues, I said the privacy issue with the officers, but the unions frown upon it. They say that it basically infringes on their Fourth Amendment for search and seizure. They have the privacy concern. It's all a big joke. How about some civilian oversight? But the police say, look, we can't have civilian oversight because they don't understand the police work, the police mentality. It won't be effective. And they looked at it they view that as a negative. The unions do. But what they don't understand is that I think the number is 93% of officers are exonerated by dash cam footage. So it's good for them. If they're doing the right thing, if they're acting the way they should, these cameras will help protect them against some idiot coming up and making allegations. These cameras also lower the incident of police brutality complaints because it discourages the cops from acting badly. Why wouldn't the police unions want this? They're central to the problem. It's this whole idea of due process for the officers accused of wrongdoing often prevent the removal of cops who are a menace to society. A menace to society. So that's the biggest problem is these unions. And preventing officers, chiefs, anyone from taking disciplinary action against an officer that's gone out and gone rogue. And you see it a lot. You see it all the time. Constantly. So I'm continuing to dissect through it. And I'm actually writing up some stuff. And I don't want to sit there and just say, these are the issues with cops. This is why we're not getting done. What are some solutions? What are some solutions to this tragedy? This travesty? One other thing I just wanted to talk about, and I thought it was really interesting. I might play this video. I tell you what, I might play the video first, and it basically covers. Let me see if I can pull it up. Basically, it covers the impact of going organic has on your body. So let me get it full screen here and shoot you over to it.
Environment, but does it really affect us? Meet the Palmbok family. They don't eat organic food.
Det kostar mer än vanlig mat. Det blir en stor skillnad när man är många i en familj.
But for the next 2 weeks, the Palmboks are going to eat only organic. Before they begin, urine samples are taken from each of the family members. And it turns out they have a number of different pesticides inside their bodies.
Vi hittade framförallt insektsmedel, svampmedel och stråförkortningsmedel.
Vi äter insektsmedel.
Ja, äckligt.
Ja.
So, everything in the kitchen is replaced, and they begin eating only organic. Then, another round of samples are taken, and now, almost all the pesticides have disappeared.
Vi vet ju väldigt lite om långtidseffekter av att äta mat som har besprutats. Speciellt med tanke på att studier har visat att kemikalier i kombination kan vara långt farligare än kemikalier var och en för sig.
När man får höra det här så tänker man framförallt på barnen. Det är många kemikalier som har lämnat deras kroppar och jag vill inte ha tillbaka dem i mina barn.
Okay, that's going organic and the benefits behind going organic. The other article, another article that I put out, and I'm big on going organic. And what happens is a lot of people don't understand. Here's a good thing to ask yourself. and it's with Monsanto. They're always out there and they're saying our product is good for you. Then why is it when a guy's out there spraying that he's in full garb, all covered up? Why is it? Why is it when someone switches to a completely organic mill, all these insecticides are out of their system? And another report that came out that I just posted today talks about every chemical that are in your daily life, and how as a single product they're not bad, but when they're combined in unexpected ways, they have a high probability of leading to cancer. And they talked about these various chemicals. They looked at 85 different chemicals. They're not considered carcinogens in the food, but when combined, they are deadly carcinogens. And many of these chemicals are found in cosmetics, foods, paints, textiles. And what happens is you combine them together and they trigger a carcinogen that leads or has a higher risk of leading to a cancer. It's an interesting article. It was put out by, who is this paper? Vice, and it's called These Combinations of Everyday Chemicals Could Cause Cancer. So definitely check that out. It's definitely worth the read if you have the time to check it out. All right, this is the second day of being back. Today I had a little bit more going on, so I couldn't prepare as much as I wanted to, which was one of the downsides I often have, and that in the second show. So it takes me a while to get back into the swing of things. So hopefully you're enjoying it. Hopefully we're covering a lot of the news. Hopefully I'm going to do a better job in the future. And I won't have as many distractions. I had to have this program up here to watch for some information. I had my two daughters call me in over here, plus my mechanic who's looking at my car, so I don't know what he wants. Too many distractors. I got to try to eliminate those. All right, so this has been Francesco Abbruzzino. This is the Uncensored Report. Remember to stop by the Scoop National News show, the scoopnationalnews.com for national news. If you're one of my local people in Sarasota County, the scoopradioshow.com or the scoopnewsshow.com. And that's it for Frankie. I will see everybody tomorrow. Have a great day.